Hi guys, welcome back to another podcast. It's Dan here from Sportscards UK, and in today's video we're doing a Q&A. So I asked on Instagram, what questions do you have? Ask me any question that you want. So we're going to go through your questions and hear my answers. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the podcast. Okay, so thank you everyone for your question. This should be a fairly short podcast. I can't imagine this will be too long, maybe 10-20 minutes. But we're going to start off with the first question, which we had from 6paths_cards. She says, I'm just going to say he, is the majority of my audience tend to be male. There's like a 1% that's female, so apologies if you are female. But I am going by a lot of your profile pictures as well, so I'm assuming you are male for those of you who have a male photo. I'm waffling. Thoughts on match attacks. So match attacks personally aren't for me. As a kid, I never got into match attacks. I was always a Panini sticker collector. I think I slightly missed match attacks. I did have shootout cards, which are very similar to match attacks. But I believe shootout came before match attacks, correct me if I'm wrong. So I did the shootout and then I went straight into Panini albums. So I was doing my World Cups and Euros. And it took me quite a while to complete those. So I would spend a year or two trying to complete those particular books. So I never really completed anything in between. So actually card collecting is only really something that I've, I guess, got into recently with sports cards. So in that sense, there's no kind of nostalgia there for me in terms of match attacks, which I have said in previous videos. So where a lot of people started with my match attacks, and I appreciate that, it isn't where I started. So I haven't really ever had the urge to collect match attacks. I've still kind of always wanted to complete the stickers more than anything else. Recently, I have been collecting Panini Prism Fulham cards, so I have been kind of collecting various different sets and parallels, but I haven't really completed an entire card set, really, apart from my uncle's 1978 Topps football. But again, that's not really mine. It's a collection I'm finishing off, which was my uncle's. Match attacks going forward. It's very interesting what they're doing now with autos. They are sticker autos, so again, I don't think I would ever invest in a match attacks card. I have owned Harry Kane match attacks rookies. I've also flipped Grealish match attacks rookies, but I don't think they're ever really going to be that expensive unless you're going for these kind of numbered match attacks chrome cards that are coming out now. And I understand why people are investing in those and collecting those, and some of them may be true rookies, which is great, but they're not really for me. I personally am more of an investor, and I do like collecting, but as I don't collect match attacks, I've always kind of left them alone. So as an investment, it's not for me personally, but if you do like match attacks and the nostalgia's there, then great. A question that I do actually get a lot is, what would you recommend collecting? And if you are into match attacks, or if you have been into match attacks, my answer might be collect match attacks, collect something that you love, collect the league that you watch and follow, like the Premier League. Then match attacks might be the best thing for you. If you're a sticker guy, then yeah, go for the Premier League sticker album. Collect what you love is kind of one of my biggest pieces of advice, and match attacks for me, the love isn't there. So that's quite a long answer to that question. Do you think subbing to PSA will ever be worth it again for lower end cards? No, I don't think they'll go back down to the kind of the £12 a card submission charge. So no, I don't think it will be. My recommendation for maybe lower end cards with 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, be NGC. It's a UK grading company, so the turnaround time is going to be way quicker. So there's really no need to submit to PSA for lower end cards whilst MGC is around, in my opinion. It may be with the top higher end cards one day that I eventually submit to PSA again, just to flip cards. But in terms of my PC, it's always going to be MGC from now on, I believe. Unless something maybe I really want in an SGC slab, but I don't think that's likely. What got you into collecting cards and stickers? I kind of answered that in my first answer to the question, which was Panini football albums and stickers. Do you think Topps will slowly follow Panini's prices for hobby boxes? Yes, potentially. I think, well, prices are getting more expensive for Topps at the moment, but you have to think that Topps only have 2 years or so license of particular cards. It depends which cards you're talking about, but they, for example, MLB, Panini and Topps are only going to have these licenses for a couple of years until Fanatics takes over. So I don't know if they're going to dramatically increase prices and just see if people pay for them, or if they're going to kind of keep the prices the same. But the prices seem to get more expensive year on year. Yeah, I think potentially we could see more expensive prices come from Topps. but I don't know if we'll see them as expensive as they are for Panini at the moment. How undervalued do you feel Mo Salah is in the hobby, considering how good he is? Yes, I do feel he's undervalued. His stickers have popped up recently. There's this shiny sticker that I could put on screen here for the YouTube viewers. Is particularly popular. Yeah, so that particular one is really, really popular. I do also own the other Champions League sticker, which I can put up on screen. So it's, I believe he's playing for Basel. There tend to be his rookie stickers, and they tend to have the most value, or tend to be the best cards to go for. But yeah, I still think he's undervalued. It's a fairly common sticker, so they're not that hard to get hold of. But yeah, maybe one day there'll be kind of immaculate one-of-ones or something that we might see of Mo Salah. And so far this season, he's definitely the player of the season, or he's the best Premier League player on form at the moment at the time of recording this video. I still think Kevin De Bruyne is the best Premier League player, but I suppose if you go off form, it has to be Mo Salah this season. Unbelievable player. He is Egyptian, so he doesn't get the Euros, and he's not going to get... He potentially might get World Cup. I think they did qualify for the World Cup, last 2 World Cups, I think. But there aren't too many Egyptian players that are... there's not a team of Mo Salahs, so they're not going to win the World Cup anytime soon. And obviously they don't compete in the Euros because they're not a European team, or they're not in Europe, it's in Africa. But there we go. That's my answer on Mo Salah. Hey Dan, what's your most unique sports card in your collection? It would probably be my... That's a good question. I don't own a 1 of 1. I own a 1 of 10 Quindary Weatherspoon Hoops gold card, which I actually picked up in I think it was in a hobby box break. It's really early on my channel. I don't know if I still have the video on. Probably do, and it's probably really embarrassing. The audio is probably terrible, but yeah, that one's one of my lowest numbered. I also have a 1 of 5 Giovanni Reina on card auto, which I picked up recently, or a pack pulled recently. But I think it would have to be, I would say probably the one that kind of springs to mind that people kind of laughed at, rightly so, when I kind of showed it or showcased it on my Instagram, was the Earl Anthony bowling rookie card, which I'll put up on screen again for the YouTube viewers. He was one of the greatest of all time 10-pin bowling players, so I decided to pick up a rookie card of his from the Kingpin 10-pin bowling set. It's him and a couple of other players that are in contention of being a GOAT. It's seems to be a kind of a Messi Ronaldo type thing in terms of who people think tend to be the 10-pin bowling champ, but his name is definitely up there. So that's probably the most unique. I also like the Jonah Lomu rookie card that I own as well, because I haven't seen too many. I know, shout out Jojo JMS has one, but yeah, pick one up for 99p in really good condition as well. So that one needs to go to MGC, SGC. Might go to SGC because it's an all black card, so it might look quite cool in a tuxedo. That's kind of one of the rare ones that I might send to SGC. So that's my answer to that. Kieran Thwaites, shout out to Kieran, is from Slapshot Vintage. Make sure you check them out if you're interested in all things ice hockey. As an investment you made that didn't work out? Oh, that's a good question. Lonzo Ball was someone that I invested in and it didn't work out, but he's now playing well for the Bulls, but I still don't know if that's going to work out. Gavin Lux I invested quite heavily in, and the Dodgers won a cup, they won the league, and his cards never seem to win up. But I think I invested in a lot of, same with Pete Alonso, I invested in a lot of Topps base, and the print numbers for Topps base cards are astronomical, and I hadn't realised that at the time. I'd just gone for rookies like I had done for basketball and thought, okay, I know there's 11,000 PSA 10 Lucas out there, probably more now, and I know the cards are printed in the absolute thousands, but yeah, the baseball cards for me, baseball cards in general just haven't been a very good investment for me. I've only really done well on Acuna. Wander Franco, I probably should have sold before he entered into the majors, but he's still performing really well in the majors, so I probably got a bit lucky with that one, even though he was the number 1 prospect going into the majors. But yeah, baseball as a whole, I think has been my least confident investment because I just don't watch enough baseball, and I think that is key. If you're investing, you should invest in what you know, and you should you should try to watch games, and I think I just didn't really do that with baseball. So I think baseball for me has probably been my weakest investment. What sport do you see taking off in the near future, i.e. recently with tennis? F1. I know F1, a lot of Americans really don't like F1 and laugh at F1 collectors. I think F1 gets a lot of disrespect in the hobby as well as a lot of respect. So I think F1 is definitely up there. And I would say UFC is still kind of in its infancy. Since the Panini takeover, certain Habib prisons have gone mental. Some of the autos are thousands and thousands of pounds. I've seen some Adesanya cards that are really expensive as well. I own a few Sean O'Malley's that I think are pretty good. Obviously, Conor McGregor, the Bloodlines cards, the auto. I know Jeff Wilson, Sports Cards Investor, owns one of those. So yeah, I think UFC, because of the Panini takeover, I think, and it's had Topps Chrome and other bits and pieces previously, I think that's on the come up. Maybe even golf, maybe some of the Tiger Woods rookies, maybe some of the Bobby Jones, maybe some of the Arnold Palmer, maybe just kind of the I guess the goats of maybe a Rory McIlroy rookie, some of the goats of golf. If golf gets picked up by like Panini or Fanatics or one of those and they start running national treasures of golf and stuff, I think that would be really cool to see. So that's got potential. Tennis, I'm not too sure on. Tennis is obviously the Net Pro series from 2003 has really kicked off. I've got a Federer rookie and I've got a couple of Serena Williams rookies. And there is a Djokovic rookie and also a... Who am I missing? Nadal rookie as well. And a lot of those have obviously increased in value as of recent. Who out of the new UK grading companies will last and who is your recommended? Okay, yeah, so there's a lot of UK grading companies out there. Now, to be brutally honest with UK grading companies, there will be a lot of them, and there will be your standard guy in a bedroom kind of starting out his own grading company and not really knowing that much about grading cards. That will happen. And so it's important to know who you trust and who you want to grade your cards with. We've seen recently with examples of Ace Grading, Randolph Pokemon, and Graded Gems' new grading service. I've seen a poor guy on YouTube recently, almost in tears with I think it was £900 worth of cards, 60 cards he submitted, and all the slabs had crack glue marks, and some of the cards actually came back damaged, and the grades were all over the place. He said some were like 8s and 9s that should have been 10s. That sort of thing I do worry about. So I think the only UK grading company I trust is MGC. They seem to be doing the right things. They're partnering with people as well. So they're saying, hey, look, we're not experts on authenticating autographs, so we've brought in a partner to do that. And I think that level of honesty to their customers to say, look, we're a couple guys that we can grade. We've got the machinery to grade the cards. We've got the tools to kind of work out centering and other bits and pieces, so that yes, this is something that we can handle. But in terms of saying, is that Giggsy Auto a Giggsy Auto or not, or is someone just faked that, they have brought in another company to do that. So I think that is like that transparency and that honesty of saying, yes, we're not experts in this, and we partnered with X so that we're trying to bring as much services as we possibly can to ensure that when PSA open up their lowest submission service, that they're still going to be there. Because that's the biggest worry, is that when PSA say, right, you can submit cards at £20 a card now, a lot of people are going to say, right, we'll all submit cards to PSA, and then these other UK grading companies are gonna all crash and burn and never going to be there. But I think MGC is here to stay. Get Graded is another one that I've seen a lot of people use. I've bought a Get Graded card and I do like it, but I don't like it as much as MGC, and I don't see them doing as much innovation as MGC. So I think MGC for me is who I'm sticking with. PSA is always going to be the biggest. As close second is Beckett, BGS. Third would be SGC, and then I think you would have MGC just sitting behind SGC. And that's really just because I think MGC would be happy to admit that that's the order, just because PSA, Beckett and SGC have been doing this for years and years and years now. So they've got a lot more years behind them. So that would be the reason of that kind of ranking. So that's my thoughts on UK grading companies. I'm only going to stick with MGC because I think they have the kind of the customer base and the innovation to stay, and I think their plan is to stay, not just to have a kind of a pop-up grading service that will be gone in a year. What is your holy grail card that you would buy if cost wasn't an issue? This kind of changes here and there, because don't know if I've ever had one. I think it would probably be Larry Bird rookie, or like a Larry Bird patch auto 1 of 1, or a George Best rookie. It would be either of those two, because I think they're two of my most favourite players. I obviously love Roy Keane, but I don't think there's any kind of Roy Keane 1 of 1 auto type card out there, and I already do own a rookie cards of him. I do own a second year that's signed, so I feel like I've done Roy Keane in that I have the cards that I want of his. So yeah, Larry Bird Celtics rookie card I think would be a really, really nice one that I don't own, and would very much like to one day. So there we go. That does it for this particular Q&A podcast. I hope you did enjoy it. Obviously, if you did, please do drop a big like on the podcast. Drop a big like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and on YouTube, on iTunes and Spotify as well. And let me know if you'd like me to do another Q&A again. And I'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks very much.